Welcome to Monstieur, a show where we discuss and redesign the most horrific icons of entertainment. This week, we take on the master of disaster. What the fuck? The Crypt Keeper, from Tales from the Crypt. The hell? I'm sorry, guys and ghouls. I seem to have come down with a strain of COVID night scream. Well, shit. I hope you enjoy the show. Fuck.
All right, we're live. Hey, what's up, guys? Joining me today are Alexandru Popa, Dan Waldron, James Starr King, the coolest name, Carlos Mendoza III, and
what's up, guys?
And I am your host, J.R. Coffrin. Today we are discussing the Crypt Keeper, and from Tales from the Crypt. If you're not familiar with that show, then you do not belong here. No, it's an old show. It began in 1989, ended in 1996, and it was hosted by the character that we redesigned in the past couple weeks. So yeah, how's everybody doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having us again, dude. It's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, for sure, man. Did you guys, Rudy, what's up? What's up, Rudy? Oh no, the live viewer chat's not working. Or it might be. Say some more stuff, Rudy. Type some nonsense. Anyway. So you guys all did a little bit of research, as usual. What did you learn? Or actually, better yet, do you remember watching the show when you were younger?
I watched it a few times. I think it was kind of like when my brother introduced me to the Twilight Zone. He was kind of like showing me a lot of these kind of creepy, little horror stories or scary stories, kind of sitcoms or whatever we want to call them, like these little shows. And I remember I kind of watched a few of them, but I didn't get too much into it. But I thought that it was kind of neat that it was like a puppet, creepy, puppet keeper that tells you the info stories or whatever. That was pretty neat. So I remember that part, but I don't remember like too much of it after that. I could tell I was way too young for that.
Yeah,
I remember.
Go on.
No, I remember watching it as a kid too. I don't know exactly when. I don't think it was like when I first started, but I remember as a kid, like I was afraid of everything. I think I was even afraid of like the Luck Dragon and the Never Ending Story. So how I watched this, I'm not even sure. But I remember doing the research, seeing the intros. Oh, it just brought me back to being scared on the couch, nearly wearing my pants watching it. So yeah, such a fun character.
Yeah, the Never Ending Story was frightening.
It was.
Yeah,
horrifying.
I had some. I believe I had some nightmares with Tales from. Oh, go on.
No, it was just that Luck Dragon was terrifying, even though he did nothing to scare me. It was just a scaly skin.
No, he was good. He didn't. It was everything else that was scary. But yeah, as far as Tales from the Crypt and the Crypt Keeper, I remember that intro. That dun 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 dun, dun like, and you kind of going through, and then the gates open up, and you start going down to the crypt, and then he starts laughing, like he does that crazy laugh, and then I switched channels because it was too scary. I couldn't do it. But a couple times I would do it, and I always regretted it because like it's just a little bit. It was gnarly for its time. Like there was nothing.
Yeah, it was.
It would come on at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Yeah. There's nothing that shows at midnight except for naughty movies. on the Skinamax. You guys remember Skinamax? No, naughty movies on
Yeah,
Skinamax.
cable. I don't think I had cable.
Yeah, well,
No, that's what I was thinking. I don't know how I saw it on HBO. I don't remember us having HBO. But it might have been like those free weekends or something.
yeah,
And then the first time I saw it was like, I felt like a Jim Henson fever dream or something like that. I was like, oh my god, what am I watching? This is super fun.
that's hilarious.
And the fact that there was like this corpse reading comics in like in his basement or his, I don't know, his crypt or something that lived under his house. I don't know.
It was in the
Just
basement, yeah. It was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, that scared the bejesus out of me. Yeah, I couldn't do it. And it was always on a school night too. That it would like dude, watch it and it would kill me. James, did you watch it? You like horror?
I did. I remember when I was a little kid, we would have like, sleepovers or whatever. And so we would try to make it to the midnight time of the showing. And whoever was able to stay awake would try to wake up all the other kids so that we could watch it at that time. And so it gives me those kinds of memories of trying to sneak it, make sure the adults don't think we're trying to watch like the dirtier HBO shows.
Yeah. Did it scare the piss out of you, or were you just like okay with it? You're like, come on, sissies, let's watch this.
Yeah, I was like, let's go. You woke me up, let's go. Let's watch this.
Meanwhile, the kids are like watching like this.
Yeah, I was always the kid who was trying to pull their hands down off their faces. I'm like,
Come on,
okay.
you sissy, watch this. Yeah.
You would have been the one making fun of me about the Luck Dragon one. 'Cause I would have been like,
Maybe.
Hey, did you bring Luck Dragon down to the sleepover? So, how about you, Alex? Do you have memory? Because I know you're in Romania, so I don't know if you got a chance to get a piece of that when you're a little guy.
Yeah, we did because when the let's just say the Iron Curtain fell off in 1989, there are a lot of cable companies starting up, and then they started to fill up our programs with tons of channels, and they kind of flood throughout the weekends with the Outer Limits, the Twilight Zone, and the Tales from the Crypt. But what I was most interested in the Tales of the Crypt was to see more of the puppet. Because it was, I don't know, I was so attracted to it. It was creepy. I knew it was a puppet, but everything with the background, that castle type of thing, that all the gimmicks that he did was quite interesting, but not so much about the episodes. Even though later in time when I rewatched them, I was like, holy shit, those episodes were kind of interesting. But they were always at midnight, and I had to kind of sneak up in my parents' room and turn down the volume and just like. But yeah, I had the chance to watch the whole show through and through.
That's cool.
No, what would you? Oh, go on, Carlos.
No, I was gonna say, how did you guys compare it? Like, I know that when I would watch Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, it would just, as a kid, it would just trip me out, and it would just be very scary. A lot of them were pretty scary, like Talking Tina and all these other creepy Twilight Zone ones.
Oh,
How
yeah.
do you guys feel they would compare to the Tales from the Crypt storylines? Like, what do you guys think as far as comparison, as far as creepy goes? Which ones do you guys feel would be a little bit more creepier?
Well, I could say that the Tales from the Crypt were a bit more towards violence-ish, more gore,
Yeah.
while the Twilight Zone and the Outer Limits were more towards psychological and
Yeah.
fantasy sci-fi-ish.
Yeah.
But I love them in equal, because each one had something different from the other. They didn't try to copy each other. And especially the Twilight Zone was a way older show, especially the Outer Limits. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Twilight Zone was ahead of its time. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
still
for sure.
it's still watchable.
Yeah.
That's gnarly.
Yeah.
Like dude, it's utterly eerie and
Yeah.
like there's there's lessons in each one and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And they kind of do that with Tales from the Crypt as well. Like you'll watch, he has like a lesson that he wants. Like a lot of them have lessons. Like the bad guy gets a lesson in the story. Like something happens to that guy, or he kind of alludes to it in the beginning of the show. To like not everyone, but a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
That's what I remember. But yeah, Tales from the Crypt was, I think, from a child's perspective, is maybe more scary, but maybe not, because I remember being scared of both. Like,
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, for me, Twilight Zone was pretty crazy. But that, like you said, that it's more psychological, and I think it's kind of one of those things that makes you think, like, what if I put a quarter in here and this thing talks to me about my future, and you know what I mean? It's like all these crazy, storylines that they had on. It was pretty interesting, though.
Yeah, where Twilight Zone gave you like that what if that could make you like frozen in fear about making any decision. Tales from the Crypt, I think. Well, now thinking about it, what both Alex, what you guys were saying is, I do remember watching it over like friends' houses and things like that at slumber parties and being horrified on the couch. Or, and I think I looked more forward to what the Crypt Keeper was doing, and I wanted to just, if the whole episode was just turning every one of those corners or exploring his lair, or him pulling up a comic book, I think I would rather watch a whole episode of that than the thing that followed. Even though I guess I enjoyed that part of the horror too, but I really wanted to just explore his script.
Yeah, a couple episodes come to mind. There's like a vampire episode. Anybody remember that? It was like an old, like, I forget the actor's name, but I don't know. Dan, you mentioned that you watched a couple episodes before the Monstieur show today. Which did you see?
Yeah, I kind of just went down like the YouTube rabbit hole of like just seeing like what people's best picks were. I didn't realize that there were so many different actors. Like Christopher Reeves was in it, and Joe Pesci, and
Arnold
everything like that. And then
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Arnold Schwarzenegger too. Yeah, and then there's
he directed the episode.
He directed it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought he was just in it. Look at you. How'd you find that out? This special Romanian Wikipedia. That's cool. How was that episode? How was he as a director? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it, but I did enjoy the. So far, my favorite episode is the one with Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
That he's in love with
two rich sisters or something.
Twin sisters, yeah, and he wants to be with both of them, and he ended up being cut in half. And the ending scene is like they're all in bed, and each sister has half of him.
Oh, I remember that episode actually. Yeah,
and that was like, oh my god, I don't know what this is, but I love it. I want to see more.
So, with the Crypt Keeper in mind, like, if you could break down the Crypt Keeper into like, I don't know, two or three parts, what do you think his essence is? Like, what do you think the draw is to this character? Because people remember him, like they're fond of him. Everybody, like you mentioned the Crypt Keeper to just about anyone, I think, and they know what you're talking about. And it didn't it wasn't a 20-year long stint. It was 6 or 7 years, right? That it was on, which is a good amount of time, but for that character to be remembered for so long and so fondly, like what do you think the building blocks to that character are that made him so appealing?
I don't think it's been something that was done at the time. I think, right before that, you had just like humans being hosts of things. You never really had, creepy things that come to life or whatever to actually do these creepy things. So like, just like when you saw like Alf, the character Alf, when you see him in a sitcom, it's like you really didn't see sitcom unless you were watching Sesame Street. But normally you wouldn't see puppets in sitcoms. You wouldn't see that type of like imagination type of thing in those type of those type of genres of shows, especially with creepy stuff. Creepy stuff is always like in movies. You'll see puppets. You know what I mean? Like what's it called? The crystal.
The Dark Crystal.
Dark Crystal
Uh-huh.
and stuff like that. But you don't really ever see it. But in a TV show like that, I think that's, to me, that was very unique. You know what I mean? It's like even like with Rod Serling on Twilight Zone, those shows where you never really had someone introducing you to what you're about to experience. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of a good draw to kind of prep you for the crazy that's about to happen. And it was kind of neat that it was a dead creature, like it was a corpse, you know. So that made it much more creepier and appealing.
For sure, that I would imagine that was part of the, the reason why it was such a big impact. But there's other things too, like what do you think design wise was appealing about it? Because like you could just because he doesn't just look like a corpse. Like there's something special about him. Like
It's super odd. And also even though we're talking about his like look, I think the one thing I really appreciated was this horrible, crazy-looking Muppet that's about to tell you these brutal things that are about to happen to people. But he was funny. Like he had like a really funny sense of humor, and he would use like puns. He's like when they were over in, he's like, I have these souvenirs, and he had like a necklace full of ears and things like that. That was what was impactful. We're like, this thing's horrifying and hilarious. I want to keep watching.
That's why I think Freddy Krueger appeals to me so much, because Freddy Krueger, I remember when I first watched him, he had the same thing where he cut this dude's ear off. He's like, "Can you hear me, Carlos?" And he'd wiggle his ear in his mouth, and it was just so fun. Like those little humorous things is what kind of like you remember those, because I remember that. I remember the humor of Freddy Krueger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
horrifying, but he's humorous.
Yeah, he started off more scary, and then they started making him more funny as the movie started going, like progressing, like with the later movies, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the same with the Crypt Keeper as well, because I watched a string of intros to the Crypt Keeper to try to get in the mood to like design mine, and I watched like the first episode versus like I don't know, like the 15th or something like that, and it's interesting what happens with voice acting, how like the voice actor finds the character as they're doing it. Like in the beginning, he was like, "I'm the Crypt Keeper. This is who I am. I'm telling a little story. I'm a little bit dry too." And then later on, he's like, like COVID night scream. But yeah, it's also interesting how humor it often gets paired with horror, like it just makes like it kind of an adventure, I guess, more of an adventure than like something to be utterly frightened of, I guess. I don't know why it keeps getting paired together. Maybe they balance each other because you're like, oh, scary, but like, haha, it's not so bad. Like, I don't know. What do you guys think? Just silence.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I think it softens the blunt force trauma of somebody, like just all horror. You get the laugh in between being scared. I mean, that's what kind of hooks you in.
Yeah.
So like you want to be scared, but you're too scared to maybe pull back or don't keep watching.
Yeah.
So having that I don't know, that guy leading you through it, the Crypt Keeper leading you through it.
The what?
Having the Crypt Keeper like kind of lead you through that.
Yeah,
softens the guy.
Yeah, with a little bit of humor, and it gives you something to look forward to, kind of like the intro to The Simpsons or something. Like I was always different in the beginning. It's always kind of appealing, right? Like you're like, oh, what? I remember being a kid watching that specifically just to see like what different stuff he was writing on the chalkboard or what would happen when they get on the couch. And it's the same for the Crypt Keeper. He'd always have some new introduction that's kind of funny. Outside of his standard like crypt introduction where he rises from the crypt and goes hey. But yeah. So I think it's time to expose ourselves to the camera. I think now would be a good time. Mr. Alexander Popa, are you ready or are you still noodling on yours?
No, I'm done.
would you like to expose yourself to the camera?
Yes, sir, indeed.
Oh, how about that? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like that mouth area, and the fact that he's kind of smoking. But take us on the journey.
I didn't want to make him look too like he's in the show, too funny, because he is a bit scary in the show, but he's also due to his laugh and attitude is like, okay, this is not that scary. I can afford to take over this guy. I like to take it more, that type of 50s or 60s horror type of movies, the black and white ones, in which when you put an emphasis on the character, you don't fully show it on the camera. It's just like in the shadow, and you have only a glimpse of highlights on him, and you put more accent on his eyes, and that to make it a bit scarier. So that's why I just went small shining glimmers on his eyes instead of bubbly eyes that he has as a puppet. And I went a bit how to say it, use a way too dark tone on him. It's how I like to do things, way more dark than they usually are.
Well, I have to say I like the fact that he's kind of wraith-like, like he's smoldering with the black and gray smoke coming from him.
Yeah.
Like what parts of the Crypt Keeper's essence did you really try to push with what you did?
What's that?
What parts of the Crypt Keeper's essence, is kind of what what parts did you push through with your design, or did you try to stray away from that and want to do something just more fresh?
Yeah, I just thought of adding this cobweb, which are basically, let's just say, the stories that he has, or the scenarios that he builds toward capturing, let's just say, the souls. That's why I'm seen as a soul keeper. He's like creating these scenarios for whatever people he wants to capture their soul, and then he creates their stories, make him follow them, and then he captures them, and then I went to the idea that he splits, having this thin line across, and inside of him he keeps all these the souls as from his victims.
Oh, that's cool. So like the Crypt Keeper would be like part of each episode, like there you would have a part like coming through, like eating the victim or showing up at some point where the audience would know that they would be having their souls taken by the Crypt Keeper. That's a cool element for sure. I do like the spider web. Like I can imagine him like sitting around a bunch, like just in the middle of just like I don't know if you guys seen those those Australian like spider like covered areas where whole trees are just covered in cobwebs and spiders, and it looks like cotton candy. Like just him surrounded by a bunch of books and just that many cobwebs and spiders, like even crawling on him. Like maybe even like glowing like spiders that are like crawling and like going into his skin and out of his skin while he's like talking to you. That'd be sick. Got my brain going.
I really like the like the threading in the back of his head, like all that little like webby just it's awesome. Like it's just the way it kind of draws you into the head is really cool design. Just the eye, the subtleties in those highlights are just amazing.
Yeah, Alicia in the chat says she also enjoys the little highlights that you incorporated here and there.
Yeah, the highlights are awesome.
I'm loving the smoke. The smoke coming off me too is just so horrifying and awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Oh,
great.
no, this just if I was sitting at the end of my bed, I don't know.
Yeah, his ear too. His ear's really unique. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Just the little subtleties. I think I appreciate all that. It's really, really nice. Great touches.
Yeah, the
Yeah. Also, the horror aspect that you were talking about earlier when you were presenting it's just the design. Like, this looks like something that just lives in the shadows and will eat your soul. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the contrast between the lower mouth area and then the top highlight from the top of the head and cheeks, and then it goes into darkness. Like that's such a great composition, and also the lighting on there too is really, really nice. Cool, man. It's awesome.
thanks.
Yeah, really nice work. Now, what did you enjoy like the most about what you did? Like, was it the process or the finished image? Like, what part of the finished image are you really happy with?
When I started to to think how I'm gonna make this piece, I just browsed some of the paintings of Phil Hale, if you know him.
Who?
Phil Hale.
Phil Hale?
Yeah. And I always was drawn in the way he does. He works with shadows, and he barely has any vibrant contrasts or something like that. He usually most of he uses like kind of the way he paints looks like everything is I don't know, worn out, rugged, dead-ish texture for skin or for tissues, and he always does this. Most of his paintings are in low light, and only a few parts of the paintings have some some small lights or.
Yeah, he does like a chiaroscuro effect with like pretty much every painting he does.
Yeah, so I went from there and I just did this. I didn't want to do a full body or just imagine the full body because we haven't seen in the show its full body, only from chest up. So I went from there and just I did only the put some highlights on the shoulders, also on the head and the ear, and then I was thinking of showing up his mouth area, but I thought of if I do that, the eyes are gonna pale away, so I wanted to leave the accent on the head and on the eyes.
Hmm.
You know what's really cool is that you can actually see his bone structure under the skin. It's so thin, like the skin is so thin on your details. Super cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, what would you say? Like, what do you wish you would have done, like differently, if anything, or are you pretty pleased?
I was thinking of having him holding his hand up, holding a feather pen, just to emphasize the idea that he's writing those scenarios for his victims. But I didn't quite, wasn't quite a fan of that. So it was just like 50-50.
Ooh,
Should I do it or should I do it?
What about like a smoldering white feather pen?
Mm.
Just
Probably.
that looks sick. Like just to add to the other, the other elements of like smoke and smolder that you got going on. But regardless, with or without the feather pen, good job, man.
Thanks.
Yeah, nice piece.
Great job, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say my favorite parts are the spider webs, the smoke, and I like the fact I like his mouth area, how it's kind of like sewn shut, but not. The nice little upsound, like the devil cross feature, whatever that is. So good stuff, man.
Yeah, thanks.
It's awesome, man.
I like it a lot. Dan, Mr. Dan Waldron, would you like to expose yourself to the camera?
That's good.
Let's do it.
So we'll take that process. Okay. And then am I sharing?
I'm sharing your. There you are. You
Nice, dude.
little minx.
Very cool.
So take us on the journey, brother.
Okay. So, doing research, I fell down a rabbit hole of looking at all the covers of the original comics, like the Jack Davis drawings, and how fun and pulpy they were. So I was wondering with the show, like what happens after that 7th season, like his hiatus. He's still down in his crypt, just rotting away. Doesn't have any paychecks, so he's just rotting away. So I thought he would just be decomposing and falling apart and have to Frankenstein himself together. I was thinking he would be whatever my narrative was, that he would be cursed and have to be telling these stories over and over again to probably no audience at all. These are just the ramblings of a madman in the crypt, and that as he's decomposing, he has to keep finding parts to sew back on and Frankenstein back together. He's in such a state of rot that he's just infested with maggots and flies and worms and all kinds of things are living because he's pulling them out of graves and things like that. So
That's cool. That's a cool like dynamic to like his personality or something. I could see the show opening up to him like finding like a piece of his body and then putting it back on and then like looking towards the camera and beginning to talk to you or something, or using his finger to bookmark a page, or stuff like that. Maybe pulling a book from like his guts or something. That's cool, man.
whereas he goes to turn a page, like his hand just kind of comes off or something like that. He's just sewing himself, stapling anything that he has, like just haphazardly putting himself together because they're just rotting apart anyway.
That's pretty awesome. I love his face expression too. It's really really cool looking.
I wanted to keep him fairly comical, so I guess I didn't want to stray too far from the character, and I wanted to really I was thinking like if he was in a modern day show now, like I would hope that they keep the Muppet, like bring in like a Greg Nicotero type of special effects where he just totally just falling apart and completely rotting. So
yeah, that's cool, man. So like what do you imagine him sounding like? Are we going with the original? Are we going with the original voice?
I hope the original, but yeah, like maybe some gurgly mess too. I don't know. Yeah, I would hope that they hang on to the same. But I heard they were supposed to bring it back. It was M. Night Shyamalan was going to bring back the series or something like that.
Oh no!
And it got done for some reason back in 2017 or something. Can't remember. I saw that in my research. I was like, oh, that would have been so fun if he did come back. So,
but
I didn't get as far. Yeah.
But M. Night Shyamalan ruins everything. That's not good. He's
that's the level.
He's got such a cool name, but aside from that, he just ruins it all.
They made a couple gems.
Yeah, The Sixth Sense, right? That was
Signs, Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense. That's it.
Is it Signs? Sixth Sense.
That's it.
That's about it.
I think it looks really awesome. I think it I feel it captures. I think the original spirit of the Crypt Keeper. I think the stylistically it reminds me of you guys remember Pogs in the '90s? Remember those?
Yep.
Kind of like that. This artwork reminds me of something that would be on something like that, or yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, as I was doing, I was thinking of like the bottom of skateboards. Like it felt like something like
Yeah.
like a Palo Peralta or something like that, or Bones Spaghetti. Like yeah, one of those.
I was telling Dan that it reminded me of Pusshead from the guy who did Metallica covers, because he has all these like holes and all kinds of details and wacky face, like really distorted like skull heads and stuff. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess subconsciously I was like pulled back into like the early '90s, late '80s, and reliving some childhood memories. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Pusshead. I'm looking it up right now. It's that definitely looks like some has some Pusshead in there
Yeah.
for sure. So what would you say your favorite part about what you did is? It could be like stylistically, it could be your process in general, it could be how you felt while you're doing it, any of that.
The research, looking into it, and like going back to all those Jack Davis drawings and covers, I really enjoyed that. I didn't realize how much I really liked the character. Like I was like, oh yeah, Crypt Keeper's awesome. But as I don't know, did more and more, I was like, oh, and I guess that's why I didn't stray too far from. I wish I would have really dove in a little bit more, really pushed a redesign. But I guess that's maybe why I wanted to capture the head tilt and kind of his sense of humor. Like he's still having fun even though he's rotting away. And he's sewing himself together in his arm. He's like using his teeth to kind of pull that thread. So I hope I got that. So I enjoyed the process too. It was a fun.
Now what do you wish you would have done,
Ooh.
but you didn't?
I wish I would have created a little bit more of an environment to kind of tell that story. I was torn between putting him in like having some environment to help sell that narrative that he's like harvesting corpses and robbing graves. So I would have liked to have like a cleaver in front of him in the foreground, like chopping up an arm and a jar of like eyeballs or something like that. Maybe like a skull with a candle lit. So I wish I would have had a little bit more time to dive in anything further. But
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think a good portion of the Crypt Keeper's personality is his environment, right? Because like you have some characters that are kind of standalone. They could be out there by themselves, and you're like, oh, that's like he fits. He doesn't need a whole lot to put them where they belong. Like it just needs to be dark or something, so it fits. But the Crypt Keeper needs some crypt stuff, I think, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good point. But good stuff, man. Like what you did. I like the style. Like it's like it definitely looks like Pusshead stuff, which is cool stuff. So yeah, man, good work.
thank you. Yeah.
That's Dan Waldron, everybody. Dan Waldron. Mr. King, the star of Kings, would you like to expose yourself to the camera? James Star King.
Oh, sure.
Now before you do it, what is the like? What, to you, what's the embodiment of the Crypt Keeper? Like, what is he? What are his base parts? Like, who is he? Like,
Storyteller.
okay.
Some kind of. When I was a little kid, I didn't know what he was. I didn't even know if it was a guy or not. Whatever it was supposed to be. So I just thought he was like some kind of ghoulish, melting away creature that was good at telling stories.
Oh, okay. You didn't even know if it was like human or something. It was just like a weird.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I didn't know. It was just like, what is that? So, those are the main parts. Storyteller, weird, melting-looking creature that I didn't know what it was.
Okay, so melty storyteller. Got it.
Yeah, or rotting storyteller kind of thing.
I'll take one. That's good.
All right, so let's see. Let me share here. Okay.
Oh wow.
Into it.
Yeah, that looks sick, dude.
Whoa, that's
That's pretty metal.
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
for my idea, I guess it's kind of far left. But when I was painting this, I thought of sort of like maybe a Victorian playwright or a storyteller kind of person who was really good at what he did, and he sort of caught the attention of some kind of vampire or something who really enjoyed his stories and figured, this guy's gonna die one day because he's just a guy, so maybe I should turn him into a vampire. But it didn't take, and he turned it into sort of like a ghoulish zombie kind of creature. So the vampire decided to keep him around and take pity on him because he felt like it was kind of his fault. And it's great because he can be out during the daytime, so he can keep his crypt while he rests, and then when he gets up, he can be told stories by this playwright. And so that was the idea that I had with my Crypt Keeper, and so that the vampire wouldn't be totally disgusted with how he looked. He tried to give him fancy fabrics and jewels to wrap himself with. And in this scene, I wanted it to be like the end of the Crypt Keeper sort of hunting dinner time before it was time for his master to sort of wake up from the crypt. And this is sort of like him hearing the call of his master, sort of that moment.
Who is his master?
Some fancy vampire.
Okay. Does the vampire have a cool?
That's a great take on that. That's pretty awesome.
Well, yeah.
Even as a standalone, bro, you could develop a little story about that. Like I like the fact, I like how you incorporated I don't know, like how he's half ghoul and half vampire, like is like the little bits and pieces of that, and and because of that, he's like a little bit more bat as well. Like I can see all that in there. That's great, dude.
That's true.
Great. Yeah, it took sort of came up with that story and kind of stuck with it, and it sort of came along fairly quickly.
Yeah, it's great when you can find that little string of inspiration and just kind of run with it with like any kind of concept you're working on. Just let go and create. You got this little story going on your head, and that kind of fuels the fire as you're plugging away and kind of trying to get into the zone. But yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, to me, that's mainly what the Crypt Keeper was a storyteller and just sort of rotting, maybe zombie, ghoul creature kind of thing. So I didn't really know what he was. And like Alexander said, we'd never see his lower body. So I sort of just made something up. I took inspiration from things like Splice, I think, that movie, because it's sort of like a created kind of creature. So I thought of this character as sort of like being created by the vampire. So I took some inspiration from that. And yeah.
What was the movie? Splice?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen Splice. So, like, what would you say your favorite part about what you did is?
I liked how he turned out a lot.
So you're pretty pleased overall, at least for the next few
Yeah.
days until you hate it again.
Yeah, basically.
As the cycle of art, for those of you that are watching that are not artists, that's the pain that we all go through. So
I love the background art too. It's just the subtlety, man. It's just super, super nice.
yeah, nice and low key.
Yeah.
Has that Star King mist to it. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, I really love sort of misty, atmospheric things whenever I get to do my own illustration.
Are you able to zoom into his face? I'd like to see him closer. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, yes, please. Awesome.
The face?
Yeah, I love the ears and the glowing eyes.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Especially, yeah. Let's take us down. Take us down that sexy body.
Sure. See if you notice these little etchings here. It's hard to see, but whenever I do a creature, I usually like to show. It's my way of showing people that there's like some kind of magic underneath the character. Mm-hmm. So I always like to have some glowing etching somewhere. I did that with the Spawn. I did too. And then there's the outfit, and I try to do like the sort of coin jewelry because I always like that.
Me too.
And then I did more etching down.
Cool.
Yeah, I did more etching down his body and the rat and the tail.
Oh, nice. I like it because of the pose. He like you were saying, like the vampire or his landlord. I forget what.
Yeah.
It's like pillows for him and like he's just out like strolling with his bats out in the like graveyard, and he kind of has that pose like he just got startled by the yell of his I don't know, fellow vampire. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad that it feels that way. That was definitely my intention. I wanted it to be, and whenever I do paint things, I like to be sort of in the moment, sort of. What do we call that?
Flow state.
Yeah.
Yeah, like almost like you're meditating, but
yeah,
you're not thinking about anything. You're just kind of moving through, and like it's just all kind of like it's just happening. Like your hands moving.
Right.
You're not thinking too much, and everything's just coming out.
Yeah. So I definitely wanted to feel like he just heard the call, and that's why I wanted the bats to be shown too, sort of like.
Yeah, like they're all awoken, like because of the call or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what do you? Because this doesn't look like a funny Crypt Keeper. So what do you imagine? This is more.
Doesn't do funny.
He's more serious, so we're not going to get comic relief out of this guy.
No, we're not.
What do you imagine him sounding like?
Geez, I guess it's kind of difficult. I mean, not crazy. I imagined him sounding sort of like kind of trying to hold on to his human voice and sort of kind of sadder, actually. Not like maniacal, crazy happy, because I think his situation is kind of sad. And so that's sort of the voice I heard, or I hear coming out of this character.
Yeah, maybe closer. Have you seen Secret of Nim?
Yeah.
The rats, the elder rat's
Mm-hmm.
voice. In the beginning, he's kind of like this.
Yeah.
And he's talking about the story, and this could be the story that's happening. Yeah, I could hear a voice like that. For sure. Rudy Rodriguez in the chat said he said one of the bats could be a book. Yeah, I could see maybe some like or a themed book, like they're flying books or something, like some kind of that could be an interesting. But then he would lose part of the story of like him being part bat. Like it's another nod to. That's a tough balance. So, what do you wish you would have done that you didn't?
I wanted to do. I was going to do a Crypt Keeper's book. I was going to have sort of it on him, and also I wanted to have sort of like rats sort of dangling off, like hanging from him in some parts of his character. Because I really wanted it to show like even more of his fall from where he was as a human. Like he's out here scavenging rats, But I sort of one, ran out of time, and two, it would have cluttered him too much. So I just had to do more subtle story.
Yeah.
Telling the illustration.
Yeah, well, great piece, dude. Like this, I think this may be like one of your best. So
Oh, well, thank you so
yeah,
much.
I know you're feeling a little naughty about your last one. So, but
Yeah.
any grossness you felt about that, I think you've redeemed yourself to the blood god. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, dude, great stuff, man.
Appreciate it. Thank
job.
you guys.
Good
This is
job.
really awesome. I would watch this movie and Alex's movie. Please, thank you.
Yeah, just about this guy. Like that'd be.
I watch both these movies back to back because the stories you both told are so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. You ever do any writing, James?
Not a lot. I would like to do more of it. And when I did this character, I was like, oh man, I want to see more of, where this character would go. Not like a story following this character after or before he tells his stories, as opposed to like, when the Crypt Keeper comes on and the whole show is about the story. I'd like to see more of this character like before and after.
Yeah, the story of the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be way cool. Yeah, I like it. I'm waiting for the book. I can't wait. So or the comic. We're ready.
Yeah.
We're ready and willing. But yeah, fantastic stuff, man, for sure.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Carlos Mendoza III,
That's me in the flesh.
I hear you did the Crypt Keeper.
I did. Do I share my screen? Or
You do.
are sharing it?
You share it. Let's see what you got. Oh, yeah. So take us on the journey.
Is it showing up good or?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, we see it.
Christopher Adam says he caught it live. Yeah, we're here, man. Thanks for dropping in.
Cool. So for this one here, I wanted to kind of have I don't know. I just wanted to play around with shapes and lighting. Normally, when I do stuff like this, I like to challenge myself a little bit, and I don't do very much of this stuff for work. So I wanted to really kind of see how hard I can push some shapes on this character. And some of the research that I did see how skinny his legs were and how funny he was when he's fully, full body, on screen. And so I took that and I kind of made him very, very skinny. And so what I did is kind of give him more of a comic feel, kind of almost game-like. Like if this was a video game, like what would it be like? And so he's basically the Crypt Keeper, kind of the Resurrector. And so I was just thinking, like, what if we just went around and just dug people to help him, in the mansion or whatever, and he'd pull people off, out of their graves, and then he'd disturb, the slumber, so all these demons would come out and kind of like tell them to stop or whatever, like stop them from pulling them out of the grave. So that's basically what I caught here. It's just basically just kind of going around the night in the cemetery, just pulling bodies out of their graves. And again, just shaping it. I really had fun just trying to figure out a way to make it very interesting in such a small area. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have really that much time. I was moving, so I just figured. So I was doodling this guy probably for a week in my sketchbook, and then I brought him in, to just start inking him this weekend. So this is as far as I got to it. So it was fun. It was really good. So lighting was a big part of it. So that's it.
Yeah, I really like the fact that you keep playing with that toon style that you. It's kind of like between toon and comic book kind of thing that you did with Goliath as well. It's it's very I don't know. It just makes it brings everything together. So like if you were to display all these characters, like it's all cohesive. They would look nice next to each other.
Yeah. So thanks, man. So what I did is I just kind of I wanted to kind of have a lot of like lighting, playing around with lighting a lot, and so I really wanted to see how hard I could push it. Of course, I'm not done with it yet, so I want to definitely push it on the top of the hand. Add a little bit of glows to the greens on top of his hand, and but overall, like I said, I'm pretty happy with the overall look of him. He seems pretty pretty put together as far as stylized. But again, everything is jagged edge shaped, so it's very shape oriented. That was kind of like my goal here, is to really push the not only just the anatomy, but also push proportion, and also like my silhouette. I really wanted to play around with that a lot. And so it's pretty much where I was at with it. So I had a lot of fun with it.
So like you took more of a cartoon approach. Do you where do you see this character? Do you see him in a cartoon? Do you see
in a cartoon or a game? I was thinking more like a game. You know what I mean, like a video game. Just because I was seeing like what's coming up next, and I kind of warming up for other things to come, and so I just kind of wanted to test out to see how hard I can push something, especially also like trying to do a little bit more graffiti-esque style of art. You know what I mean, and just pushing shapes really. So it was kind of like what I wanted to try out. So, but yeah, I would say more like a game, like a video game.
What does this Crypt Keeper sound like?
What does he what?
What does he sound like?
He sounds like this.
Okay.
Just kidding. I don't know. I don't know.
So he's a smoker and a beer drinker.
Yeah.
And
smokes a lot.
smokes a lot.
Trying to quit, but he still smokes a lot.
Okay.
I like this as a cartoon art game. Feels very Luigi's Mansion or like a Scooby-Doo Mysteries type of, or like instead of a mystery machine, you have the Crypt Keeper taking you through graveyards and things like that, telling you stories. It's fun.
I believe that there is actually a Crypt Keeper cartoon. It's out there. It's out there.
Oh, cool.
I think I saw a clip of one when I was digging around for research on how to design my Crypt Keeper. So Carlos, what would you say your favorite part about what you did is?
I think it's the way the lighting balances on it. Like I think it it's not over dominating. I think it's just trying to find the right balance, and really just like the shapes. You know what I mean? How the shapes play out with the overall lighting and stuff. So I really like that on it. I mean, I really enjoyed this one. This one was one of my favorite ones. I think that I've done in a while. Like I don't think I really, do this kind of stuff very often. So I think, like I said, with Goliath, I was able to put some really mass shapes, and this one was more like challenging because you're pushing thinner shapes in the anatomy. So I really liked it. I just thought it was a fun story too, that he's resurrecting people, and it's fun, really cool.
Yeah, stylistic things are kind of difficult because, well, not difficult. Well, they can be difficult because you got to figure out how to light things but still adhere to that style that you were going for. Like, so it can't be too far. Like, I don't know. There's a range that you have to work in order to remain in that style. So.
Right.
I always find it interesting. Like that's why I said when I looked at it, like seeing this kind of stuff is inspiring because I want to get more into line stuff. I've been doing like a couple ninja scroll studies and stuff to try to open up my brain to doing this kind of stuff as well because I just don't. But yeah, great stuff. Now, what would you say that you like? What do you wish you would have done but you didn't?
Finished it.
Oh, okay.
I wish I would have finished it. No, I think I just need to, like I said, there's portions of it that need to get done. Like the tombstone still didn't get done. His hand and my zombie hand, which is basically me underground. It's a zombie hand. Is not done. The grass, I would like to touch it up a bit more. And then just a few more highlights and stuff. I think I got a good maybe a few more hours left on it, and I think I'll be done with it. But I think overall he's in a good spot. But I wish I could have finished him.
Alicia in the chat, she says she loves the silhouette and the pointy cloth. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Rudy says awesome.
Thank you, Rudy.
But yeah, dude, good work. I keep polishing that style. I could see it I could see it going places, and it's crazy too. Like I know, like when you the more you just like any kind of art direction you take, like if you keep doing this kind of stuff, it'll just start being more and more fluid. Like you'll figure out new tricks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, right on, man.
Thanks, man.
So I have there was a woman by the name of Carolina Jacobs CZAK Jacobs. I don't know how to do that. Jacobs Carolina JAKUB Anyone don't know how to say that? Jacob Chuck. I don't know. I hope I don't screw up her name too badly. But anyway, she's on Instagram as at Mrs. MRS.SUKKUB, and she wanted to contribute to the show. She wasn't able to come on, but she came. She did a pretty bitchin' Crypt Keeper. So I will show that.
Hey James,
what's that?
James, how do you stop sharing your screen? Am I
Same spot, bottom left.
Oh, there I am. Okay, cool, thanks.
There you are. Here, let me. And this is what she did. Here. So let's see what she say about it. She said she's in a rush, like you, Carlos. She's moving, so she says she tried to keep a similar design, but give him more of a mysterious, dusty look. She says she wanted to emphasize the fact that he's inside a crypt all the time, so she made him blind, and I think that's smart. She says she also noticed that he liked fancy clothes, so she tried to make it look a bit odd, which I really like what she did with like the clothing, like how it's like a strip of cloth and then like it really resembles like a rib cage. It's like it drapes over the arms. Like I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. Have you guys?
Nope.
I was gonna say that. It seems like a rib cage, like you just said. Almost like irons at the top too.
What's that?
It does seem like a rib cage, like she was trying to get with even his clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like almost like eyes up on his chest. And even his like costume feels like it's like an evil face or something like that.
He's got some like rope going into his face that's like keeping it together through his nose. Like some sticks like going through his neck, like kind of tribal like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome looking.
Yeah, I dig it. I like it. What's up, Adrian? Adrian in chat says hello. Yeah, I dig it. Now, since she's not here to be with us now, what would you guys say that you? What's your favorite part about what you did?
I think her details are really on point. Those are really cool. It's unique. It's different. You know what I mean? So it does kind of stay within the theme of the character, and yeah, he just dressed her in a unique way. I think it's pretty neat. Almost the backing of it almost has that Native American feel. But it's really cool.
Yeah, Rudy in the chat says Dr. Satan vibes. Really? I don't see it. Dr. Satan? Dr. Satan's kind of like Fabius Bile from Warhammer 40k. I don't know if you guys are... Can you zoom in on
her real quick?
Yeah, or him.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Could be a her. Where do you want to go? Where do you want me to take you?
Like close to the chest and the head up, and then down at the bottom.
Yeah, it's fun. Get out of here. It's too close. Yeah, good stuff.
That's a fun character. I like those toenails too. The face is great.
Yeah, the toenails look like my toenails. I like it. Well, anybody?
Cool.
All right. No. Anybody else have some anything they want to say about the goodness of her masterpiece? Now, what would you say? What would you have liked to see that you're not seeing?
Probably a little bit more of a like not so healthy stance. I think maybe more of a crouchy, hunchy a little bit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, more than totally. Yeah, that would totally add to just the creature that much more. Because right now it kind of looks like a witch type stance or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The expression's good.
The expression is good. It looks like the keeper's ready to tell you some kind of just about
Right.
to break into a story, like he's excited to tell you. But yeah.
I think he maybe a book, like a big book. Maybe he's holding a big book. It would kind of add it to the story. I think would be really cool because
Yeah.
it does like the expression's about to say something, and then if they had a book, maybe holding a candle, like a big candle hanging over, would be kind of cool.
Yeah, or a quill, some kind of feathery
Yeah.
quill,
Yeah, yeah.
with I don't know, rat bones on it or something. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, overall, great piece.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Good job, Carolina. Maybe we'll get her on the show sometime. But all right, I suppose I'm next, and this is mine. Here. Here, let's see. No, what are you doing? Stop that. There we go. So, like, I wanted to I don't know, kind of like the Crypt Keeper is part of the crypt. Like, since he's not moving around too much, kind of wanted to like show that. Add a bunch of cobwebs, like just kind of hangs out and tells stories all day and pulls from the books and I don't know if you guys see how many arms does a Crypt Keeper have?
Looks like he's got 4.
He's
He's got
got
4 right now?
4 arms. That's right.
4 arms, yeah.
So
I can't see your screen from my computer. I can only see you from my phone. So.
Oh
it's really
no. Oh well, I'll zoom in a moment.
No worries.
And
Looks
then.
amazing though.
Oh, thank you.
Phenomenal, like always.
Thank you very much.
I
Man.
think your staging is so awesome. It's so theatrical and like it just kind of draws your eye to the design all the time. It's like the way you just kind of lay it out. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think like I don't always want to do environment, but I think it like actually I never want to do environment, but like it always there's something about just a hint of environment that it just gives you the flavor like of
Yeah.
whatever you're doing. Like it yeah. So I'll get in a little here. So like lots of cobwebs and skulls and melty candles and like he's on his own grave. I tried to with the like
Oh, he's sitting cross-legged. That's cool.
what's that?
Is he sitting cross-legged too? Like,
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's sitting cross-legged on top of the
fish
thing.
cross applesauce. Is that what they're
What's that?
crisscross applesauce? That's what they call it in school now. When you say that, right?
Yeah, totally. Fish cross applesauce. I don't know, bro. Everything's screwed up now. They do math all weird too. I don't know what's happening, man. But yeah, fish cross applesauce, and Rudy in the chat says looks like a keyframe from the reboot show. There's a reboot show. I didn't know there was a reboot show. Oh, I tried to take some. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like what they do to like dead saints. They like adorn them with like gold and jewels and.
Okay.
I tried to do that some like, and it's not really apparent, but like if you get in here, you'll see like a medallion with like some pearls inlaid, and like.
Can you zoom in more?
Yeah.
Okay.
so like some pearls inlaid and like some it's not super apparent, like some gems and stuff. And he's got some other ones too, like on his arm. And like he's got a little coke ring. And yeah.
That's beautiful, dude.
Yeah, thanks. And that's it. Yeah, and I would say, I don't know, what's my favorite part about what I did was, I think my favorite part I did this in 2 days. That's my favorite part.
That's awesome.
At night, I just need to get it down to 1, and I'll just be stoked. That's perfect. That's where I want to be able to do it in 1. And then, so that was good. This one went pretty fast. There were 2 long days, but there were still 2 days. And what I wish I would have done better, maybe do some more thought about the environment some, instead of just like a generic crypt. Maybe something a little bit more special. Maybe like some kind of, maybe it's a crypt like on top of like a pit that's held up by like chains or something, like he's dangerous or something, and he just sits in the middle of this abyss and tells his stories with like, I don't know, like yeah, that sounds like a way better idea now that I think of it. But this is what I came up with when I was doing it. That's what you get. I'm sorry.
Very awesome. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, this is looking really rad. I mean, I love this idea, but yeah, okay. And then a pit too. Sounds really awesome. I like that in this environment you can almost hear like, well, in my head, my crazy head, I can hear like echoes of his laughter and him just like talking to himself or telling the tales like a madman down in the crypt. So I like that he's like just looks like he's laughing to himself or just reading from his heart.
Yeah, I tried to emote a bit, like in the past I've done some like, I don't know, sometimes my stuff looks a little bit stiff, so I tried to do a little bit more gesturing with my design, and hopefully I'm getting a little better at it.
Yeah, it's clean, dude.
Thanks, man. So that's it. That's my Crypt Keeper. But here, how do I?
I love the red in the middle. It's such a cool touch.
Oh, did I screw up here? Let me go back. Which one?
No, just the red in the center. It's just kind of, it's a great touch.
Oh, the fact that his thing's red, so he kind of pops a little bit. Yeah, I had to do something, or he's gonna get lost, because it's kind of like James. Like, I don't work as low key as James, or even Alexandru for that matter. But like, it's still pretty low key, so it's hard to you got to learn different tricks, I suppose. Yeah, red works. I liked red. Yeah. I saw a picture of the Crypt Keeper and with red, yellow, or like kind of an orangey type, dirty. I don't know what you want to call it. Whatever it is. Maybe I think I got lucky with the colors, but yeah. That's it. Thanks a lot, man. Here, that's me. Hello, everybody. The next show, we are doing something a little different. We're doing something that's it's probably the least horrific character that we've ever done. Earthworm Jim. Yeah, and that's that will be on the 12th. So if anybody is looking forward to seeing Earthworm Jim defaced and made into the most horrific version of Earthworm Jim you could ever imagine, come by then. Come see us. Does anybody have anything that they want to share, like any projects they're working on before we close up shop?
Yeah, I can't talk about what I'm working on, but I'm excited for it from Jim. That sounds awesome.
Well, I suppose for me, I'll plug. I got some new items in my shop on my website, jrcoffin.com. Some apparel items. So if you guys want to go check those out, do it. You gotta get those threads. It's 2020. You don't know when you're gonna be able to buy clothes again. Like stuff is happening around here. But thanks again to everybody that's watching. Again, joining me today are Alexandru Popa, Dan Waldron, James Star King, Carlos Mendoza III, and I am J.R. Coffin. And if you want to check out any of our art or anybody that's been on the show in the past, you gotta look below. There's links to all the Monstieur artists. All right, guys, have a good one. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Later.
Thank you for watching Monstieur. Hope you've enjoyed the show.